Hello everyone. Thank you for having me here, especially to the organizers that yes, they arranged it in even in the online mode. My name is Kushi Trivedi and I welcome you all to SolapurFOSS and I welcome you all to my session. I think we should quickly begin with it. I'll give my introduction in that as well. Um, Let me share my screen. I hope that's visible. Yes, the topic is building your stand in communities and open source. This is what we are going to cover up and talk about. Yes, a quick guide. Make sure to capture the important slides because I'm not present there and like here in the on the screens. So, I wouldn't be able to pause up, right? So, just make sure to get your cameras ready for it. All right. So, first of all, a little introduction about me. Yes, I said my name is Khushi Trivedi. I belong from Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. And since we're going to talk about communities, these are my collaborations so far. I have been into communities like from 2 years. I'm an MLSA, Gold MLSA. Then I have been a GDSC lead. Similar to this, I have been a co organizer of Bhopal FOSS and then mentored for some hackathons, even involved with an MLH hackathon. And yes, I'm a speaker here finally. And yes, to Manipal University, Jaipur, and other stuff. Without further ado, let's get quickly started. What's community? I hope everyone would have known what's community. Let's see. So, this is some very basic definition. It's something like people who have common interest align up and they have, aligned goals, aligned values, and they have some mutual support. But does people of community only mean the organizers or the speakers out there? No, each and every one of you is a part of a community. Even the attendees, the volunteers, every supporter out there, whether it's online, offline, they all are a part of a community. So, community is never a biased thing, all right? Yes, what's community further on? We're just adding it up. Online groups, local organizations, social networks, etc., etc. So we all are a part of a community because we all have gathered here to discuss about what exactly is open source, to discuss all the nitty-gritties of it. And this is what makes up a community. A group of people who have common interest have gathered to, talk about, to discuss over what's one tech stack. Why community? All right, let me answer this. First of all, I think we have seven of the points. So, one out of seven is support and belonging. We give each other the support that we require. I'm here to support you, getting your fundamentals clear. What is community? To all the beginners out there, I got your back. I'm going to also tell you about open source in very minimal terms so that in case you're not at all aware about open source, you're going to be getting a little idea. All right. So, yes, support networking. Networking is really important for your personal and professional growth. All right. In case you're here and you network with people, maybe you can land up an internship, a person who requires a person like you to work with their organization or a startup. Who knows? So, this is what networking actually means. I know you all must be aware of all the fundamentals out there, but I do not want to confuse you. I just want to get your fundamentals clear. The third one comes advocacy and influence. Communities amplify collective voices, all right? So, people who have common interest, as I said, they can advocate for change. They can raise awareness about important issues that is going on. They can, discuss about the future, the upcoming trends, and yes, about the social impact as well. Fourth one comes celebration and recognition. So, thankfully, I have been invited to SolapurFOSS, even in the online mode. Yes, I'm really happy, but this is gonna be a huge success. And the success of SolapurFOSS is not only affecting the organizers, the volunteers, and the speakers, it's also affecting all the attendees that are coming up. They are really proud to attend such a unique thing, such a successful event. So yes, a success, a collaboration, and the recognition is always celebrated in the community. Communities are all up for it. Collaboration, as I said repeatedly, you must have heard, so many times till now. Collaboration, collaborating efforts can lead to creation of innovative projects. So in communities, you do not only talk, you also code together, you also make projects together, you participate in hackathons, and then a lot of things come up. Also, communities are not based on one region only. It is like, it depends. Some communities are like only for people who are contributing to open source. Some of them are like for web3, some of them are like for Flutter, etc. So it depends on communities to communities. Sixth one is resource sharing. You share the resources and stuff. And then learning and growth. You learn, you grow together, all together. You share your knowledge, you share your skills, and yes, impact each other. The third of seven is principles of community. I'll be sharing you what principles are required in the community. So first one comes up, trust and inclusivity. What community actually means is there is nothing of personal interest. It's of the public and social interest, first of all. Secondly, it's about the recognitions that you earn. Community is not about social work. It's basically about helping others and getting others help, like in a cycle way. All right. So trust is a really important factor, and inclusiveness means including every person out there. Providing value. In case you're not providing any value, you are actually not in the community. We do not accept you in the community. What providing value means is, even if you are an attendee or even if you are a student right now or a beginner, you can earn whatever is shared by the community seniors. All right. Even getting knowledge, even learning is adding value to community. All right. That's a secret. The third one is encouraging diversity. As I said, that has no limits. Community has no limits. So, diversity includes the gender diversity, the regional diversity, the ethnic diversity, and what else. So, diversity actually includes every person. There's no partiality been done in communities. That is what I mean. And the fourth one is fostering collaboration. Again, we land up to collaboration every time in community. All right. So the essence of community is collaboration. All right. Coming up, strategies for building an engaging community. Do you want to build your own community? Do you want to like conduct a session, a whole conference like SolapurFOSS? I got your back. Here are some of the key factors. You can like take a snapshot of it to keep in mind. So here are some steps. Clearly define purpose and goals. You must have a fixed purpose. For example, for FOSS United, we have a purpose that we're going to talk about open source. Promote inclusivity and diversity. While registration, nobody would have asked you, are you, they would have only asked you about where do you belong from, which college, or what's your gender, because they want your data. They just want the identity of yours, but they do not want to, have something like we only want people from this college or we only want boys here. Nothing like that. We're on inclusive. Yes, provide value with content. Providing value is really essential. Nothing works without it. Then comes moderation and community guidelines. Community guidelines actually requires there shouldn't be promotion of one religion or there shouldn't be promotion of one organization. Yes, sponsorship, community partnership is a different thing, but yes, you shouldn't only be inclined to it. Adapt and evolve. I'm sorry. So you should adapt with upcoming trends. You should not only stick to what was before. You should come up with, yes, you should accept what is Windows 11. That was just an example, but yes, you should evolve with technology. And yes, facilitate networking. I've already talked about it, right? Coming up, challenges and solutions. So are there any challenges here? There are. Okay, there are some challenges like content quality and relevance. Then sustaining momentum, that means there are some, even I told you I was a GDSC lead. I was the first GDSC lead of my college. So it was not easy for me to establish a community where I do not have someone to look upon. I did not have a formal lead. So having a consistency is really hard, and deciding what quality matters and sticking up to the quality of content that you provide is really difficult. So this is one of the challenge that I faced. Conflicting interest and goals, because there are so many people, there must be many opinions. So a conflicting thing could come up. Competition and saturation, yes, there comes up some competition as well, but communities do not actually promote it. Adapting changes in trends, so there are some changes in trends, so keeping up with every news is really tough, I swear. But yes, it's worth it. So this is what technologies are coming up to give you an aid. So you should also be getting updated for it. Communities are for that. Tech and perform changes, member engagement and burnout. So many members, you cannot keep up with every member. You cannot keep up with, yes, these people who are coming up for your community will be coming up every single time. All right, there must be some lower audience, there must be some high number of audience, it depends. All right, so this is one of the challenge, and the last one that I personally face is scaling the community. Scaling the community at some level is really tough. Yes, it requires consistency, and you must select your peers very thoughtfully. Yes, here we come up to, ever heard of open source? Anyone? You have ever heard of open source? I know many of you would have heard of open source, but I'm here to tell you what exactly it means for all the beginners out there, all right? To anyone who do not know what is open source, or just know it a little bit, or they want to contribute or maybe revise, I'm here. I got your back. So, no, you don't know about open source? Fine. Let's, think about Instagram. Do you know about Instagram? I think everyone does, right? So let me explain you with the help of Instagram. So Instagram is what? It's a social media platform, right? So open source is a social coding platform. So in Instagram, we usually share pictures and videos in the form of post. I have literally underlined it. So in the form of post, you just scroll the post you of the people you follow. You can even follow people on GitHub. You can give a follow back on GitHub. Yes, this works like Instagram a bit. In the same way, open source, you share a repository, just like post on Instagram. We have repositories in open source, and just like the videos and pictures, we have codes and documentation and resources and whatnot. Yes, cut to the point. In open source, we do not only have the codes, all right? You can, in case you're a good content writer, you do not do coding, right? You can do technical writing, you can contribute in documentation and stuff. We'll come up with it, right? Let's just understand what's the analogy between Instagram and open source. All right, so I told you this. Coming up to some more points, just like you double tap on the post that you see on Instagram. In case you like a repository, you just star it out. All right, there's a like heart button, but in open source there's a star. On Instagram, you can comment. Even in open source, you can comment out. So there is a community support. You can see others comment as well. But you can do much more things on open source than what you can just do on a social media platform. In social media platform, this is it, yes. But in open source, there is a lot. This was just a trailer. Let me tell you. So, taking an example of fork. Do you know what is a fork? Yes, we do eat noodles with it. No, that's not fork in open source. It's different. You can understand it. For example, many of you must be in the hostels, right? Maybe any of your aunt or your mom would have given you a recipe book or a recipe note, right? notes of the recipe, or anything in the digital or the written form, right? So basically, you can understand folk in the way that just in case you are, cooking the same recipe, but you want to add some changes, you want to not cook the same way as written, you want to add your own changes, you have your own things to experiment, to improvement, you add more chili to it, you add more, things to it. The same way in open source, there is a code that already exists. That code is in a repository. So basically, there is a repository that already exists which contains codes, all right? Maybe for a website, for an extension, for an app, etc. Whether it is anything, but there exists a repository. Just in case you want to work on the same project, you basically fork the repository and make your own improvements, your own changes, your own personalization. You customize it in your own way. So this could be done by forking the repository, all right? So I tried my level best to explain it in, very, very simpler terms. We have many, many more speakers coming up who are really excellent, who will be telling you more about things up. But yes, it's just, yeah, this is the official definition that I got from GitHub. A fork is a personal copy. It's a personal copy, of another user's repository that lives in your account. Just like you make an Instagram account, you make a GitHub account, all right? And there's a unique username given to every GitHub user. So Fox allows you to freely make changes to a project without affecting the original upstream repository. So if you fork a project, it will not affect the one who already originally created it. That person has nothing to do with what you actually did. It doesn't affect. It is your own local copy, right? Next topic, commit. It's the very basic, of open source. So commit, what can you see here? It's a puzzle, right? I can understand commit with the help of a puzzle, just imagine you're a group of people and you're playing a puzzle game, right? So each puzzle, you turn by turn just pick up a puzzle piece and fit it up in the picture. So in open source, a commit is like adding a puzzle piece to the larger picture of the project. In the similar way, the developers actually make a project and there are more than one person in the group, and just like they add one piece of the puzzle, the same way they add their own, contribution of the code to that project in the repository. So this is what exactly is done in open source. But by adding your piece means you're committing to the project. You commit to the project, you save the changes, you actually do the changes. This is what I mean. Fit the correct piece. That means commit must be done as per existing code base, right? So there are some things you cannot fit a puzzle of a different piece where exactly it doesn't fit, right? You have to do it with a thought. So yes, this is the official definition that we have. Coming on to what exactly is pull request. Oh my god, what is this? Till now we only had one word. Now what is this another word coming up? All right, I'll explain it to you. You can see a book, right, in the picture. Let's consider, just like a group of friends were making a puzzle, consider one Sunday you all gathered upon and you all think to write a storybook, right? Creative people out there. So just think you're making a storybook and you all are working on each chapter. Every member of the group is working on each chapter of the book, right? So I'm writing, for example, chapter number 1. My friend is writing chapter number 2. Another one is writing a chapter number 3. This is what is going on. And it's an opportunity for other develop. Okay, I wouldn't read out. First, I'll tell you what exactly it means. Each team member writes their own chapter, right? And, you know, I write a chapter, but I wouldn't just give it to, okay, fine, I have written my chapter, now it straight away goes to the book. No, that is not what it happens, right? We just review each other's. each other's chapter. Is there a grammatical mistake? Is there anything like I've written something wrong? Any proofreading, any review? I give my chapter to my friends and they just have a view on it. They just read my chapter that I wrote and they just give it a read and they proofread. And then, in case they have any changes to make, they'll just edit it, right? In case of pull request, in case of open source, there is a team of developers, right? So, pull request basically is like you all have branches in every repository, just like the chapters. Chapters is equals to branches. So, I wrote a branch, I wrote a code in my branch, similarly, other people. But before making it up to the project, finally, I just, you know, have my friends to show it up. And okay, every developer in the team work on their own branch. So you allow teammates to proofread it before finally adding to the book. So pull request is like request to add code changes on your branch by other developers. But you will have a question. If someone edited my code and they take the credit, what will happen? Or maybe, why should I do the changes of their branch? I'm only concerned about mine. Why should I add it to them? I will not get the credit because it's their branch, right? No. In open source, this is the benefit why people are so much in love with open source, because they get the credibility. They are actually accountable for every contribution that they make. Every changes are recorded. If you do a pull request, it's shown in your profile. It's shown that you have made this pull request, you have contributed in someone else's branch, right? So this is what exactly is pull request. So yes, another concept. I think it's time for getting up into, yes, the definition. Pull requests are proposed changes to a repository submitted by a user and accepted or rejected by repositories collaborators. So yes, coming up to finally, but why do people even use open source? There are some, as I told, there is a community. So many people in the community are here to support you. Why wouldn't you be here? Also, there is content management system. As I told, it's not only the code, it's the documentation, it's everything involved. Like the coders and the non-coders out there, everyone is here. And yes, ownership and control we just now discussed. It's shown in your profile. Whatever contributions you make, you're accountable for your own contributions. No one snatches it away from you. Collaborative development is another thing. Solving out bugs. Okay, I'm not able to solve the bugs of my project. Yes, you got my back. You are here to help me out in my repository, but you also get the credit, and so do I. Customizations. As I told you, this is what fork is for. You customize your own thing in case you love someone else's repository and want to make it in your own way. Localization and globalization. Repositories could be public or private, right? So, yes, localization and globalization sums up to this. Cross platform connectivity. And there are tons and tons of reasons why open source is so good and why you should be there. But, would you like to know more about it, discuss more about it? I'm here on Twitter. In case you liked any even one bit of my session, do let me know on Twitter. I would love to get motivated that yes, my content would actually be of help of yours. And just scan this QR in case it's not possible or it's not happening. Here's my username, and do let me know how did you feel about it. And yes, thank you to all the organizers who had this uh, gave me this opportunity to be finally speaking at SolapurFOSS. I would love to be present offline another time that we have an event. All right. So do let me know what was the best thing you liked about my session in case you liked it. And thank you so much. Thank you for the session.